Good afternoon, everyone. This is Michelle again from Best Stop Exchange, the appliance shop located in Newport News. We are located not too far from Fort Eustis in the Denby area of Newport News, and we're right across the street from Wawa. Our address is 14862 Warwick Boulevard, Newport News, Virginia 23608. Our phone number is 757-898-5772. Here at Best Stop Exchange, we totally refurbish all machines that we get in, whether they're pre-owned or brand new, scratch and dent. We fix them up, fully test them, and make sure that they're all in good working condition before we sell them. Now, a big question that I get from a lot of customers is what's the difference between the old school top load wash machines and the new school top load wash machines? Let's start with my favorite and what I would absolutely put in my house. And I had a old school top load Kenmore in my home for like 16 plus years, and it worked beautifully, worked as a charm until I decided to upgrade to a Speed Queen. We'll get into Speed Queen on another video. But yes, the old school direct drive motor washing machines are wonderful in my opinion. Based on what we repair and what we do, you just can't beat them. The old cliche of they don't build them like how they used to is true. It's factual. They honestly do not build the appliances and the washers the way that they used to. They built these things like tanks. They built them to last. So the big difference is the type of motor and transmission that the old school top load washing machines have. This is what you call a direct drive motor, and right here, this is a Maytag Centennial. This is old school top load direct drive motor wash machine. This thing is wonderful. I would absolutely put it in my house if I needed a new washer. They work great. So the big difference between them and the other top loaders that are the newer high efficiency ones is the amount of water usage that they use. This one does use more water than the new top load high efficiency ones, but some customers like that. Me personally, preferably, I prefer it because I feel like my clothes aren't getting clean with the newer high efficiency ones. I feel like you need that amount of water coming in to really get your clothes clean. Also, another big difference is the timer right here. This is the type of timer that you push in, turn to whichever setting, and then you pull. So the newer high efficiency ones do not have that type of analog timer. They have a timer, yeah, you turn the button, and it's got a little digital board back there. I'll show you one in a few minutes. Another big difference is with the drum. So this drum, because it's on a direct drive, it's sitting directly on the axle of the transmission. So you've got the motor coupler connected to the transmission, and with the transmission and the clutch, and then the axle that holds the washing machine up. So this one, it has little agitator dogs in there, little gears that help the agitator do its thing, do its agitation. And when we refurbish these direct drive washers, we automatically change out the agitator dogs. It's a real cheap part, just costs a couple of bucks to change it out due to normal wear and tear. Also, this washing machine tub is not on suspension rods. Again, it's sitting directly on the axle that the transmission is holding up, and the clutch. So, and a lot of them come with porcelain tubs. They can also come with stainless steel tubs, and they come in various different sizes, from like a 2.7 cubic feet capacity to a 3.5 cubic feet capacity. This is a 3.5 cubic feet capacity. It's one of the larger size drums for a direct drive washer. Now with the direct drive washers, they do not come any larger than the 3.5. So that's something to keep in mind if you want capacity. As far as comforters are concerned, you could probably fit your comforter in here. Probably not a king size. You might still want to consider taking that to the laundromat. But you could probably get like a twin size, full size, maybe a queen all by itself. To be honest with you, I would stuff my comforters in there and they did just fine. So it's all based on personal preference. Now when we refurbish these, we automatically, due to normal wear and tear, change out the motor coupler and the clutch, and then if anything else is broken on it, we will fix it. Like for example, if the transmission needs rehabbing, we have the neutral packs to rehab the transmission and get that up and running again. If we need to swap out the motor, we'll swap out the motor. We can fix the timers or replace the timers or any of the other switches. We also make sure with the pressure level hose, that is secure. That's another thing that you have to be careful with when you get these top load direct drive motor washers, is the pressure level hose. That can come loose, and if it comes loose when you start to fill up the machine won't know that it's full, and it will flood. So we make sure that we secure those hoses so that way you don't have those issues. So these are really good heavy-duty machines. A lot of our property managers like them. They like to put them in their rental properties because they can withstand a lot of usage, and they're easy to repair, very easy to repair, and very cheap to get parts for. You can still get the parts for them, so that's the good thing. So moving on, let me show you the high-efficiency top-load washers. They look very similar to the old-school direct drive ones, but there's some very significant differences. So this right here is a Roper. It's manufactured by Whirlpool, and then right next to it is an Admiral. You can see they look the same. They have different name brands on them, but to be honest with you, they're both Whirlpool machines. They're both manufactured by Whirlpool. So big difference you can see right off the bat is the timer. This is not the push and pull type timer on the old school ones. That's analog. This, you just turn to whichever setting. It's got a little computer board back there that takes into the setting that you put in to make the machine go. And then another big difference that you see here is this has the push start button, and it also has a lid lock feature. So this is a really good safety feature that they implemented with the new high efficiency ones. I'll go back to the old school direct drive ones so that way you can see the difference. It does not have a lid lock. What they have is the lid switch. They have the lid switch. So walking back over here to the old school Maytag Centennial, as you can see, no push start button, no lights on the control panel there. No lid lock. The lid does not lock, but it does have a lid switch, so that way when you open the lid, if it's in spin mode or wash mode, it'll stop. It'll stop the washing and it'll stop the spinning, so that way you don't stick your hand in there while the machine is going into a high spin and hurt yourself. You can bypass that lid switch. You can bypass it. And I'll probably get into that on another video. But right off the bat, you can see the big differences between the two. So again, they look very similar, but different type of timer. Like I said, this has a little motherboard behind there. It's got the push start. It's got the lights right here to show when it's filling, washing and rinsing, final spin, cycle complete, lid lock, and the lid will lock when you start it. Now, another big difference is with the top load direct drives. They're pretty quick at washing your clothes. They do use more water, and within 30 minutes or so, it's completed the whole entire cycle. This has got a different type of clutch brake system. These top load high efficiency ones, they have a different type of transmission and brake system, so it takes them longer to wash. Whereas with the old school direct drive, it might take 30 minutes. This one, it might take about an hour to get your clothes clean and finish everything. So when you open the lid here, again, you got the lid lock there. That's a big difference. And this one is not direct drive. Once again, I repeat, it is not direct drive. It is on suspension rods. And the mechanics of it is very different than the old school direct drive. So these suspension rods, you got to be careful because over time they will wear out. Probably every 2 to 5 years you'll probably have to swap out the suspension rods. Also, this has a actuator and a different type of transmission system on it. It's mostly plastic parts, which is why they don't last very long. I'm actually going to tilt the machine to show you what it looks like from the underside. Also, it has a different type of pump as well. Let's tilt the machine so that way I can show you. Alright, let's go up underneath here. So you can see that's the actuator there. That's the water pump. And you can see the suspension rods. And this is where the motor is at. And this right here is, it's also belt driven as well. It's got a belt. I don't know if you can see it under there. It's got a belt. It's belt driven. And right up underneath there is where the transmission is at. So not as heavy duty as the old school direct drives. And the shift actuator is what gets it to go into the spin mode and shift around, and when it does all its agitation as well. So we check all this out when we rehab them. A lot of times these shift actuators right here, they go bad. It also has a capacitor on it. Some direct drives have capacitors on them as well. Yeah, but most common problems with these top load high efficiencies is the actuator. A lot of times that'll go bad. The pumps. People get pieces of clothing or some sort of article of something stuck in there. It causes the pump to go bad. And the suspension rods. The suspension rods tend to wear out pretty quickly on these because people like to overload these machines, not realizing that you're not supposed to because of the suspension rods. Okay. And so you can see this one has an agitator as well. Not the same type of agitator that was in the top load direct drive Maytag Centennial. It doesn't have the gears in there, little agitator dogs in there, but a little bit similar. But yeah, those are the big differences between the old school top load direct drive washer and the high efficiency one. I didn't show you the underside of the top load direct drive washer. Let's do that. Let me show you the underside of that one, what the mechanics look like underneath there. Let's see if we can tilt this one back. Also, if you are going to a used appliance shop and you are going to purchase